This is what 1,761 mini tomatoes look like. And we're going to turn these little fellas into the best tomato sauce you'll ever want to taste. G'day, I'm Mark from Self Sufficient Me, and these Everglades tomatoes took forever to pick. But it's going to be totally worth it because cherry tomatoes make the best tomato sauce. So let's just get into it. In America, they call this ketchup. In Australia, we say catch up if you can. And we call tomato sauce dead horse. So if you're in Oz and someone says, hey mate, would you like a dog's eye? You say, yeah, sure, but do you have any dead horse? And if they don't get the dog's eye meat pie because it's probably a dodgy pie shop. So yeah, Australians love their tomato sauce on meat pies and sausage rolls. But before we get into the process of making this tomato sauce, let's first quickly go through the process of growing and picking these tomatoes. Both of these plants self-seeded. They just came up. This one here came up in the ground actually, and then I grew it and trained it into the garden bed, and this one here came up on its own in the garden bed and I just put a frame over it. So I didn't even think about or plant these deliberately, I just managed them once they came up on their own. That's how easy these Everglades or mini or rootstock tomatoes are to grow. But the picking part was long and tedious, I have to say. Well, this is a heck of a lot of mini tomatoes to pick. I hope this cloud cover stays. Oh well, got to start somewhere. I've been going for nearly an hour and I feel like I've got hardly anywhere. Because they are at the end of the season, there's no use having these straggly tomato plants that aren't producing but are just taking up space and actually shading out or strangling other good crops that are coming in to the spring now. Rightio, let's count these suckers. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 298, 299, 300. So that's 300. 1,200, 1,609, 1,610, 1,611, 1,661, 1,761 mini tomatoes. There we have it. And welcome to our kitchen. This is where we convert the food we grow out there to meals and preserves to eat. Now the sauce that I'm going to make today is really basic. Some people like to add things like herbs and spices, chilies for example, to upscale it. That's fine if you want to do that, but we just like a basic rich tomato sauce where the tomato flavour shines through above anything else. So if you want to add to the ingredients in the recipe that I'm going to show you, go for it. Experiment, do what you want, that's fine. We'll start with washing these fellas. And the reason why I'll rinse them underwater and not be too heavy-handed with it is because they'll have dust and other things on them that we can just easily rinse off. But you've got to be careful with these little mini tomatoes. Some of them, especially the overripe ones, can burst easy, and you don't want to lose too much of that beautiful essential liquids and juice down the sink. And here's the end result. 1,761 mini tomatoes turned into about 2 litres of the most concentrated, delicious tasting sauce you would ever want to try. And yes, I have tasted it, and I'm going to give it another taste too, just quickly for you, and just go through a bit of what I think of it, even though you know I love it. Well, let's just do that. But as I'm tipping it out, what I want to stress is, yes, this does take a lot of time and effort to do. You've got to grow the tomatoes, and you've got to pick them, and then you've got to make the sauce. But it's those things that take, or often, that take a lot of time, effort, and love to produce that are often the best to eat or use, or the best products to buy because of that. So I would encourage every one of you, if you haven't tried to make your own tomato sauce before, even though you can just buy it from the shops full of preservatives and everything, whatever, I'm not going to dish on them too much. But if you know, even though it's a fairly easy thing and cheaper thing to buy, making your own makes a heck of a lot of difference, and you really will taste the difference. So let's, hopefully I can show this to you. Look at the consistency there, it's coming out lovely. And that's because I've reduced it down to what I wanted. Concentrated reduction. That's one of the keys. Put this down. You know, it smells a bit like a chutney. Yes, a little bit of onion. And I'll try to be as sort of off the cuff thinking as possible for you. Yeah, it tastes a little bit like a chutney. It's different to a sauce that you'd buy in the store. It's This type of sauce here is probably not as tomatoey. It's not as puree. It's not like a deep red tomato puree, probably because of those extra onions that I've put in there. And you don't have to use that many if you don't want to, but I'd recommend using the recipe as I've shown you. But it is giving it a really rich tomato flavour, similar to the tomatoes that are on the plant. It's just more concentrated, and I can taste that tomato variety in it. It's really, really delicious. It's sweet, it's got a little bit of vinegar hit, it's just the right amount of seasoning in there, and there's nothing else, and it's just perfect, except it's missing one thing. I think I know what it is. Hang on. Yep, that's what it's missing. A dog's eye. Yep. I knew I was missing something. I just couldn't put my finger on it. And you don't want to put it on this one too, because it's really hot. That's better. I'm sure that will taste a heck of a lot better now. Look, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a big red thumbs up and share it around, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye for now. Oh wow. Meat pie, homemade tomato sauce, and the footy. You can't get any better than that.